Dilemma. It's just you guys made it up.
No, no,
just
no,
to,
no,
you
no.
know.
We didn't make anything up. Even top Muslim scholars like Ibn Kathir and Al-Tabari admit that they can't produce this supposed Injil that you're referring to. So in your mind, again, I know how you feel about this, Khan. I know what you think. I know you think it's not really a dilemma, and that's fine. You're welcome to think whatever you want. But at the end of the day, it's like I tell my kids, you refusing to acknowledge the truth is not going to make reality go away. Because firstly, when Daniel said that the Quran is only referring to the original Injil, not the Gospels that the Christians have, he's running straight into the main trap that's outlined in the brief that I was just going over, right? Because if the Quran commands Christians in Muhammad's time to judge by the Injil, which is Quran 547, and all available historical evidence such as the Codex Sinaiticus and the Vaticanus and every early manuscript, even church fathers, early historians, proves that Christians only had Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, then what exactly is the original Injil that he was talking about, right? You can't name the book, you can't show the text, you can't produce a page or even a quote. He can't. No one can. Even top Muslim scholars like Ibn Kathir and Al-Tabari admit that they can't produce this supposed Injil that you're referring to. So in your mind, again, I know how you feel about this, Khan. I know what you think. I know you think it's not really a dilemma, and that's fine. You're welcome to think whatever you want. But at the end of the day, it's like I tell my kids, you refusing to acknowledge the truth is not going to make reality go away, right? Daniel didn't do anything about proving the Islamic dilemma. He actually cited sources. You said he cited sources and he did not. There were even Muslim channels who were saying that Daniel did not stay on topic. He didn't even remotely approach the Islamic dilemma. And people are very concerned about this. So, maybe you heard it the way that you wanted to, but I'm sorry, my brother, I strongly disagree. And so does pretty much most of the scholastic world. Nobody agrees that Daniel did anything. Actually, people were laughing. At one point, he was calling the people in the audience autistic. I mean, if you're winning a debate, then why are you appealing to the audience? And then when they turn against you, you're telling them that they're reading the Quran in an autistic way. That's just a very disingenuous and stupid way to debate, if you ask me. But again, that's just me.
Okay. Well, I don't recall him calling people autistic.
You want me to bring it up?
No. I said I don't recall him calling people autistic.
Yeah, he called the whole audience autistic. When they were talking about a certain Quranic verse, he said, "Well, I guess this is that is the autistic way of looking at it." He literally referred to the audience. Okay,
he didn't say that you guys are autistic. He said this is a dumb way of looking at it, so he called it autistic.
Right. So basically, everybody who was there who agreed that that's what it said, he was calling him autistic. That you can try to dress it up however you want. You can try to dress it up however you want. It doesn't change what he said.
So, well, he's not a prophet, so of course he's gonna. I agree to his debate, but his extra comments, I disagree to that. So let's go over what he said, right? Per debate, not his personal comments. He's his own person. Okay, so here we go. So he quoted this verse, Quran 5:47 says, "Let the people of the gospel judge by what Allah has revealed therein." Right?
Yes.
Then it says in if you go to 44. Just
44 is talking about the Torah. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it says we send the Torah, which was guidance and light, and the Injil. So just paraphrasing it, and let the people of Injil. So basically saying what was revealed to them, not what they have in their hands, saying what was revealed to them, right? So what we in our belief is it was revealed original. For example, we have a Quran which is revealed to Prophet Muhammad, right? And let's say somebody, he makes his own Quran right now. So God says, well, you have to judge by what was revealed to you. It doesn't mean that this new book that you call Quran, you should judge by this. No, it's still referring to the original text that was revealed to the people, was revealed by God, right? It's not saying to abide by the book you have in your hand. No, which was revealed by God, right?
Okay, so let's go over what you're saying then. All right, and let's do it under the parameters again of the Islamic dilemma, right? Firstly, you're going back to Quran 547 again to say nothing of the fact that you're completely avoiding 1094 and 3 and 4, which make it clear that it is a book that they had, right? But let's ignore that for the second. Let's ignore that for a second. Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let's ignore it for a second. All right. The Quran in 547 commands Christians in the 7th century to judge by the Injil. What did they actually have in their hands at the time? At that time, it has been historically proven that they had Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, right?
Yeah,
There's
they have
no
the corrupt
okay,
books, yeah.
right. So they didn't have the corrupt because at the time that's what they had, which is what they were told to command by. So you continuing to try to insert the word corrupt in there only deepens the dilemma for you, and I don't understand why you're not seeing that, because no historian, no manuscript, no church father, and not even the earliest Muslim sources say otherwise. There's no mystery original Injil floating around. It was always the 4 gospels. That is something that you guys say, and therefore you think it's true, but historically, reality disagrees with all of you who say that. But secondly, if Allah meant something revealed but lost, then why would you command people to judge by it? Why would you tell someone to follow a map that doesn't exist anymore? It makes absolutely no sense. To say nothing of the fact that the hold on. All right, because you're making a lot of comments, and I'm clearing them up. All right. Now the Quran is clear in multiple places that no one can change the words of Allah, right? If you look at 6:115 and 18:27. So if the Injil got lost or corrupted, that means that Allah could not protect his own word, which contradicts the Quran itself. Stop saying no. It doesn't matter. You think that continuously denying and saying no means you're making a point. It's not. I'm illustrating to you. Stop, dude. Stop. This is exactly why I said what I said earlier, because you keep calling and you want to interrupt people and you don't get interrupted, but then you want to interrupt because you don't like when I'm telling you something that I'm telling you, right?
I'm not interrupting.
You're interrupting me right now. You're interrupting me right now. I'm literally showing everybody.
I'm asking you. I'm clarifying something. So once you finish your point, I'll get a time to respond to you. Okay?
Yes, I am. I'm making my point, just like when you make all your points, right? Now, the thing about it is that no matter how you say it, no matter how you try to dress it up, you looked at everything that Daniel said, and his entire pathetic attempt to defeat the Islamic dilemma. He never even addressed the Islamic dilemma. Because you're never going to find a single manuscript, okay? You're never going to find a date, place, or scholar who can show that this real Injil that you guys claim existed was ever different from the gospels that Christians were using. And every early translation, every ancient copy, every quotation from the church fathers points to the exact same 4 gospels. So if the corruption happened, there's no evidence. There's none. So every time you try to say, no, it's talking about the original, not the one they have now, or it was already corrupted, you're just sinking deep. You are sinking and seeping deeper into this dilemma. Either the Quran is wrong for telling people to judge by a book that doesn't exist, or the Gospels are the Injil, and the entire Islamic argument falls apart because the Gospels contradict Islam on every major doctrine. Jesus' death, resurrection, and deity. So that's what I continue to try to tell you.
All right, so you're done?
If I stop talking, that means I'm done.
Well, you're making sure so you don't say, I'm not finished. So let me address your points, right? First, you say that because our God says in Quran that God's word cannot be corrupted, but if we claim that Bible was quote unquote corrupted, it is a contradiction. It's not actually, because you can make another book and call it Bible and paraphrase some things. Doesn't mean the word of God is corrupted. No, you made a new book and you label this as, because that's what Quran says, that they write from their own hands and they call it from Allah. I can give you the verse if you don't know already. Do you want me to give you the verse where it says?
I know the verse. I know the verse. I already know how I'm going to rebuttal everything you're saying. Go ahead, finish what you're saying. I'm not going to interrupt you.
All right. Well, basically, it says that they write it from their hands and they call it from Allah. So that's what you have. You have Bible that you wrote with your hands and you call it from Allah. But the original, the one that was revealed to Jesus, and he preached in kingdom, the gospel of kingdom of God, or something like that. That was the original that was supposed to be talking about one and only God. And it was during the destruction, or there was some event that happened, I think destruction of the temple or something. At that time, it was just, disturbed or lost or whatever. The church made up a new book. They called it Bible. So that's nervous laughing is not going to help you.
I'm not nervous, brother. I'm laughing at how pathetic the argument is. Nobody, believe me, you make nobody nervous, especially not me.
Okay, can I finish? You're interrupting me now. So that first claim is completely debunked. You saying because Quran already says
Right.
that.
What is your historical evidence? What is your historical evidence behind anything that you're saying? Don't say debunked if you okay. If you can't prove it, then nothing that you say matters.
Points. I have to. You can address them just like you address my points all in one. I'm going to address all your points.
Okay, good.
In one, right? It's fair.
Good.
Right. And then, yeah. And the second point you made was that. Hold on. Yeah. You say that what they're going to be judging with, right? If the original text is corrupted. So Quran doesn't say to judge by the corrupted text. It doesn't say judge by the book you wrote. It doesn't say judge by what you're holding in your hands right now. It says judge by what was revealed to you by Allah. What was revealed to you by Allah. So if you don't have it, you corrupted it. It means that you have to follow Islam to be judged by what is revealed to you by Allah. So that's my rebuttal to two of your points. I forgot the other one you made. I don't. If you can remind me of what you said. I think it was 3 points you made.
It was just it was the same thing. It's showing you how you sink deeper into the dilemma. So is that the end of your rebuttal?
Yes. So
all right.
From Quran, I kind of
Yeah, I got you. All right, so great. Thank you for your rebuttal. Now I'm going to show you the difference between nervous laughter and actually rebuttaling with actual scholarship. Now I want you guys to notice that Khan over here decided that he was going to try to take the Daniel Pikachu approach and make a lot of claims absent any evidence whatsoever, right? You can continue to claim that the Bible's corrupt. You can continue to try to make, dollar store attempts at insults at the Bible. But again, you're too intellectually dishonest or deficient to understand what the dilemma actually is. And you continue to lie to yourself and say, well, you just made something up and therefore you continue to talk about it. No, Daniel got absolutely eviscerated and you're trying to actually adopt his arguments because first of all, the claim that Christians made a new book and slapped the label Bible on it after losing the original is pure fiction from a historical standpoint. There is zero historical evidence, manuscript or scholar, Muslim or Christian, that supports this fairy tale, which is why I asked you for evidence, which I knew you didn't have. You just like to say things, but you have no evidence. So, but when I laugh, it's not because you make anybody nervous. It's because your arguments are so pathetic that I have to laugh at them because otherwise I'd probably throw up. Okay, the four Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, were already in wide circulation centuries before your false prophet even knew about them. Okay, and it's proven by manuscripts like Codex Sinaiticus in the 4th century and Vaticanus and the writings of the early church fathers. Nobody, I mean absolutely nobody, made up a new Bible after some temple destruction. You're grasping at straws and you're literally trying to draw false correlations between historical events that you don't even understand. Okay. Secondly, the verse in the Quran about people writing with their own hands and calling it from Allah from 279 is talking about some Jewish people, not Christians, and not the Injil. Even top tafsir scholars like Ibn Kathir will tell you that. See, unlike you, I will use scholarship and I will use evidence because I know what I'm talking about. You can't just cherry pick that and try to use it against the Gospels because the Quran still commands Christians to judge by the Injil they possessed in Muhammad's day, Quran 547. No amount of revisionist history from you or any other Muslim is going to change that. If that Injil was gone, then again, your dilemma stands. I don't give a damn how much you sit there and try to pretend like it doesn't exist. If the Injil was gone, again, I'll ask it even slower. Why would Allah command them to use it? And again, no one can change the words of Allah, 6:115 and 1827, which is a direct hit on your argument. Okay. Now, the idea that the Quran means judge by what was revealed and not what you're holding now is just not how language or logic works. And I understand that in Muslim apologetics, you have to forego both to make your arguments. But in Christianity, we don't have to do that. OK, because when you tell people in the 7th century to judge by a book, you're talking about what's in their hands, period. I don't care what it is. Even 1094, which you conveniently continue to avoid, says by the book. OK, the book that they obviously had, which Allah was talking about. Right. The Quran never warns Christians, by the way, your book is corrupted. Don't use it. Instead, it constantly affirms what they had. No Islamic historian can provide any evidence that a different original Injil existed, nor that it ever vanished. And by the way, Brother Fromo, thank you so much for the $50 domo. I really appreciate you. God bless you, brother. Now, getting back to my point, Again, the Quran constantly affirms what Christians had at the time. Now, this other silly comment that if you don't have it, you have to follow Islam, that move is beyond desperate, okay? If the revelation was lost, that means that Allah could not protect it. This is the dilemma that you continue to try to pretend like it doesn't exist, but it doesn't matter, my brother. You can close your eyes, you can cover your ears, you can scream as loud as you want. The dilemma doesn't go away. It stands undefeated. Okay, the problem with you is that what you don't understand about your own argument and how desperate it is, and copying it from Daniel, is that if the revelation was lost, that means that Allah didn't have the power to protect it, which your own Quran says is impossible. If it's the Gospels, Islam loses, because the Gospels directly refute the core of Islamic theology. And you all know that, which is why you're trying to sidestep it. You don't even understand you're in a beach of landmines that you're never going to get out of. The more that you try to run from the dilemma, the deeper it gets. Every historical manuscript and even Quranic piece of evidence closes the trap tighter. There's no new book. There's no vanished Injil. There's no evidence of corruption and no warning from Muhammad or any companion that the gospel was changed. You're boxed in on all sides, and every escape just proves the point even further. I'm sorry. And I yield back to you. You're still muted, by the way.
Hello, you're
there.
done?
You go. Yep.
Dude, you talk a lot.
Yeah, so do
Can
you.
you add like extra? Can you mute yourself now? Well, I didn't say anything when you were speaking, right? So yeah, you add a lot of fillers, and that just makes your time, like you have 1 minute of statement, it takes 10 minutes. So all right, I'll just get to the point. Unlike you. So you asked me to provide evidence that Bible is corrupted. So there's a lot of differences how early manuscripts like Codex Sinaiticus is different from the modern Bible. And if you go to your own source, it's called Catholicism.com, and they say the original text was lost and a new one was compiled by, hold on, Catholicism.com. I can put that website in the side here. So .org, yeah. Catholicism.org. And no. Here we go. I'm gonna put it on the chat. So that's my evidence. You asked for evidence. So like I say, there's differences in the Codex Sinaiticus and the modern Bible. So you can see this, okay, and that's my okay. And another one, Catholic.com. So they say that although the New Testament canon was not determined until the late 300s, and they go on to say that. So the final Council of Trent solemnly defined this canon in 1546, after it came under attack by the first Protestant leaders, including Martin Luther. So it's being in debate. So it is apart from the original Bible. This is like even after the current Bible was published, they were still having a lot of issues that this is not the original Bible. So that's my evidence for. Anyway, I have to go. I will listen to your answers from the side. I'm at work, so I got a meeting call. But all right. Yeah, I'll come back later.
Have a good meeting, brother.
All right, see ya.
Bye-bye. So here's the rebuttal to that, ladies and gentlemen. He gave a lot of revisionist history. So let's approach it point by point, right? And I know he doesn't like that I have answers for him. And I know he doesn't like, at least he tried to provide evidence. I mean, he didn't provide any direct evidence. He gave me a couple of websites. So first of all, let's talk about the fact that the differences in manuscripts argument is literally old news and actually buries my opponent deeper in to the Islamic dilemma. All right. So the Codex Sinaiticus, Vaticanus, Alexandrius, and every major ancient manuscript all contain the same four gospels, all of them: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. The exact same gospels Christians had in the 7th century and the same ones that the Quran references. Now, sure, there are minor copyist errors, which everybody has acknowledged for God knows how long, right? You have like a word here or a misspelling there, just like any hand copied document. But nothing anywhere, nothing changes the substance of the doctrine, right? right? And the thing is, there's definitely nothing close to some original Injil that's missing or was totally rewritten. You're not going to find a single credible historian, Christian, atheist, or even Muslim who says otherwise. Now, to address his second point here, he said that the canon wasn't settled until the 300s or at the Council of Trent is literally misleading at best, right? Christians were already using the four gospels for centuries before those councils, and it is proven by church fathers like Irenaeus in the late second century, rather, who lists the four gospels and says it is not possible that the gospels can be either more or fewer in number than they are. The councils only confirmed what was already standard and what was already in wide usage already. And they did not invent something new. Now, the Council of Trent was over 1,000 years after Muhammad. And he said, and the Council of Trent was over 1,000 years after Muhammad, which is irrelevant to what was in circulation at the 7th century, right? So I don't know where he's getting, again, revisionist history, but that's what Brother Khan is good for. Now, thirdly, even if you thought there were differences, that does nothing to solve the dilemma. The Quran still says to judge by the gospel, and that no one can change the words of Allah. The earliest manuscripts match what Christians had at the time of Muhammad. There's no lost original, whichever turns up. There's no manuscript evidence that exists of a different book. And the Quran never warns Christians that their gospel has been corrupted or lost. But lastly, and most pathetically, quoting random apologetic sites or misusing Catholic sources doesn't erase actual manuscript the actual manuscript trail of the Bible. I'm sorry. Right? It doesn't change the fact that the dilemma stands. If you say the Injil is not the four gospels, then you have to prove that. You have to produce the book, right? You have to show a page. You have to show a quote. If you say that it was corrupted, explain why Allah commands Christians to judge by it, and explain how no one can change Allah's words doesn't mean what it says. The bottom line to Brother Khan, and something tells me that he really didn't have to go to a meeting, he just knew that he was going to get obliterated, as always, is that every argument that he brought just makes the Islamic dilemma worse, which I already knew. The Gospels in Christians' hands as the 7th century are the same ones we have now, proven through manuscripts and through history. There is no lost Injil. There is no manuscript evidence for a different book, and the Quran's commands stands as a trap that has no escape. At the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, even if it wasn't the original Gospels, then what ends up happening is you have just now proven that the words of the Quran are fraudulent and self-refuting. It's telling you to judge by a book that is lost? Absolutely ridiculous. Or is it telling you to judge by a corrupted book? Even just as ridiculous. But even worse for them, is it telling you to judge by the Gospels that are true and we know are true? Even worse for them, because it completely contradicts what the Quran says. Jesus Christ was crucified, as is verified not only biblically, but by countless hostile attestations as well. It is absolutely ridiculous, but Brother Khan knows this. He tried to provide evidence. He gave me the name of a website, not thinking or not knowing that I actually knew what he was going to try to say, despite the fact that no matter what, the problem is, ladies and gentlemen, that all of his argument just shows that he has a very little understanding of what the Islamic dilemma is. If you want to continue to try to argue biblical corruption, you can do that if you want to. Even if you could prove it, you know what you're doing. If you could be the first person in history to prove biblical corruption, you are now showing the world that the Quran, again, is fraudulent no matter what. Whether the Bible is true, the Quran is false. If the Bible is false, the Quran is false. If the Injil is lost, the Quran is false. It just shows that your Allah is weak and not the God of Christianity, which is Yahweh, the only true God. This is your Mind on Islam, ladies and gentlemen.